All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really big question, one we all ask at some point. How do we find meaning in our lives, especially when things get hard? We're going to explore a powerful philosophy called logotherapy, and it offers a surprisingly hopeful and practical answer. So, let's get started. You know that feeling, right? That nagging sense that something's not quite there. Maybe on paper, everything looks fine. You've got a decent life, a job, but there's this quiet, deep down feeling of emptiness, a sense that something important is missing. Well, believe it or not, there is a name for that feeling. It's called the existential vacuum. It's this void where purpose and meaning should be, and the man who coined that term, a psychiatrist named Viktor Frankl, didn't just write about it in a book, he lived through it in the most extreme way you can possibly imagine. Now, you might be hearing this and think, okay, that's some old philosophical idea. But here's the thing. It's actually a deeply, deeply modern problem. What Frankl was seeing back in the mid-20th century, it's become even more real for so many of us today. This right here, this phrase just nails it, doesn't it? In our world, a lot of us have what we need to survive. We have the resources, the entertainment, the stuff. We have enough to live by. But what's often missing is something to live for. We've kind of mastered the how of living, but we've lost touch with our why. To really get why this idea has so much power, you have to understand the man behind it. Viktor Frankl's life wasn't some quiet academic one, no. It was the ultimate, brutal testing ground for his entire philosophy. What's just mind-blowing when you look at Frankl's life is this. He developed the main ideas of logotherapy before he was sent to the concentration camps. He was already in Vienna helping people who felt suicidal find a reason to live. And then fate threw him into a situation designed to strip away every shred of meaning. He lost his family, his freedom, even the manuscript for his life's work. And yet it was in that absolute hell that his theory was proven true beyond any doubt. You have to understand, Frankl's idea was a huge deal. In psychology, you had these giants, right? You had Freud, who said our main drive is the will to pleasure. Then you had Adler, who argued it's the will to power, to be better than others. But then Frankl comes along and offers a third way. He said, no, you're both missing the most important one. The most fundamental human drive, he argued, is the will to meaning. Frankl quoted the philosopher Nietzsche all the time, and this line perfectly captures what he discovered. It's the core of it all. If you have a powerful enough why, a reason to live, you can endure almost any how. That why becomes your shield, your anchor in the storm. This led Frankl to a game-changing observation. He saw that survival wasn't just about being physically tough. The people who were most likely to make it through, they weren't always the strongest. They were the ones who were holding on to something, a future goal, a loved one they had to see again, a book they needed to finish. That purpose gave them an inner strength that was more powerful than muscle. So we've got the incredible, harrowing backstory that forged this theory. But what is logotherapy, really? Let's break it down into its three fundamental beliefs. Okay, the first belief is the foundation for everything else. We all have freedom of will. Now, that doesn't mean we're free from bad things happening. Of course not. It means we're free to choose our response to whatever life throws at us. And this is probably Frankl's most powerful statement. Coming directly from his experience, they could take everything from him, his possessions, his family, his dignity. But the one thing they could not take was his freedom to decide how he was going to face it all. That inner freedom, he said, can never be taken away. The second core belief is that our main driver is this will to meaning. We're not just these biological machines reacting to things, chasing pleasure or power. No. We are fundamentally purpose-seeking beings. It's what gets us out of bed. It's what helps us get through the darkest nights. And the third belief, well, this one is the most hopeful and probably the most challenging of them all. It's the idea that life has meaning, always. Not just when things are good, not just on the sunny days, but even in the face of suffering we can't avoid. there's a potential meaning to be found. So, okay, this all sounds pretty profound. But the big question is, how do we actually do it? How do we find this meaning in our own everyday lives when we're feeling lost? Let's get practical. Frankl basically gave us a toolkit, a roadmap with 3 main paths. The first is the creative path. This is about what you give to the world, creating something, doing a good deed. The second is the experiential path. This is about what you take from the world, experiencing beauty, loving another person. And then there's the third path, the attitudinal one. And this one's a game changer. It's about the stand you take when you're faced with something you absolutely cannot change. So, to make this super clear, let's imagine someone. We'll call her Maria. She's 45, her kids have just gone off to college, and bam, she's hit with that existential vacuum. Her main purpose feels like it's gone and she's lost. It's a feeling a lot of us can relate to. So, how can Maria use that 3-avenue toolkit? Well, for the creative path, giving, she could decide to really go for that promotion at work, take on a new challenge. For the experiential path, receiving, she could reconnect with an old passion, maybe start volunteering at the animal shelter again. And most importantly, for the attitudinal path, she can change her perspective. She can see this painful time not as an end, but as a new beginning, an opportunity to find out who she is now. And here's the key. Finding meaning isn't some huge, single lightning bolt from the sky. No, it's about taking these small, deliberate, active steps. By doing this, Maria starts to find purpose from lots of different sources, and that feeling of emptiness begins to transform into a new sense of fulfillment. This brings us to the final and, honestly, the most powerful takeaway from all of this. Because out of all the tools and strategies we have, the most important one is always, always within our reach. This quote from Frankl just completely flips the whole thing on its head. We spend so much of our time looking out at the universe and asking, what is the meaning of life? Frankl says we've got it all wrong. Life isn't the one being questioned. We are. Every day, every single moment, life is posing a question to you through your circumstances. And the great challenge and the great opportunity of being human is to answer it. You don't answer with words. You answer with your actions, with your choices, with your attitude. So the real question isn't what you expect from life, it's what life expects from you. How are you going to answer?